Good day everyone, and welcome to our SUSE Linux Enterprise Server training. My name is Jaco Foster and I'm a SUSE Certified Training Engineer for SABNT Tech. I'll be your host for today. A huge welcome to everybody joining us again locally and abroad. Now let's continue learning Linux the easy way. My colleague is on standby and will be monitoring the chat window and answer any topic related questions. For technical questions, please send us an email to suze@sabdtech.com. Today we will be using server 1 only, so please ensure you have already started server 1. Let's look at our agenda for today. Today we will be navigating with the command line interface. So today we will start diving into plenty of practical detail and we will be actively busy on server 1. I recommend you to start making notes of all the commands we are using today and going forward for the rest of our course. Create yourself a text file on your computer or a Word file as you please and note down all the commands with a brief description as we go through them. Today we kick off navigating the command line interface, in short, the CLI. So when navigating the command line interface, we have two applications installed on our SLES server. So our SLES server, we have terminal and xterm. We will get the terminal in our system tools and we can find terminal in there. We have already created a shortcut on our desktop. And then we've got xterm we can find under utilities xterm. So we won't be using xterm, although it is available for us to utilize. Then just to recap, a shell gets called when opening the command line interface. So the default shell in SLES is our bash shell. Then if we also want to autocomplete, we need to use the tab button. So we will be utilizing the tab button quite a bit throughout our exercises today. Now let's have a look at common shell commands for our filing system. So the first command we have is a period or a dot. So this represents our current directory. Then we have the double dot or double period. This represents our parent directory, meaning one level up. Then we have our tilde, and that represents our home directory for the current user. Then to quit a task, we use the Ctrl+C button, Ctrl+C, and that will quit any current task which is running. Then another command that we'll be using is our print working directory, in short PWD. This displays the current working directory. Then we look at our ls command, which is our list command, and this displays directory contents. We can use other options to display the hidden files. We can use the option -A for hidden files. Then we can use the option -L for a detailed listing. And then we have a time ascending listing by using the option -T. We can then create directories with the mkdir file. And then we can also create a parent directory should it not exist yet by using the -P option. Then we have our change directory command, which is the cd, and this will change us into a specific directory which we point the system to. Then we have our touch command, and with our touch command we can create empty files if a given file does not exist yet. But with touch we can also change the access and modification times of a file. We will not be doing this at this stage, but know that it is available. So we are going to do a lot of practical on this, and you will notice that on my system I have plenty, or on my slide I have plenty of these arrows, and this is all the commands we will be running on our server 1 today. So let's open up server 1 for a start. There's my server 1. Great. So we already have a shortcut for terminal on our server. Now this is my shortcut for terminal. You can either find terminal from your application start bar, go to system tools and then terminal, or you can just right click on the desktop and then use open terminal. So let's open up terminal to run our commands today. Just going to maximize it. I'm going to zoom in again so you can see better. There we go. So our first command that we'll be running is our print working directory command. Let's go pwd. And this will tell us where are we currently at, in which directory. Now our home folder for tux is located under the /home/tux. This is our home folder with all our directories in it. Let's do a ls to confirm what's inside our home folder. Here we've got some of the files that we have created on a previous exercise. And we can see we've got our downloads, pictures, our desktop documents, etc. within our home folder. Now let's do a ls/home-tux, which is our first command over here. Let's see what will that show. So we do ls/home/tux. And we will see that a normal ls listed everything for us within our home folder. Now we have navigated to show us everything within the home of tux, and it shows us exactly the same information. Why? Because our current working directory is the home/tux folder, which is shown by the tilde sign over there. Let's run this next command over here, which is our ls -a, and then we go /home/tux. Now this should show us all the hidden files. And what we can see here now is a whole lot of extra files listed in our directory, our home directory. And most of our hidden files start with a dot in front. Do you see that? Alright, let's carry on. Let's run the next command. And the next command we're going to run is going to be the ls-l, which will give us a detailed listing. So ls-l is a /home for /home-tux. Now that gives us a detailed listing of all our files, and that is sorted in an alphabetical order. Now we know if we utilize the command A, we will show all the hidden files. And then when we utilize the T command, we previously said the T command will arrange everything in time ascending. So let's run that command. But this time we are not going to use the full path of tux, we're going to use the tilde sign. Now the tilde sign is to the left of your number 1 key, and you need to use shift and the button to get your tilde sign. So we go ls minus lta space tilde, and the tilde represents our home directory. And what we're supposed to see is a newly arranged window or output, not in alphabetical order, but this time arranged in time and date. Let's see. Enter. So let's scroll up slightly. So there's the command that we ran, and now we can see we've got all the hidden files with the dots in front of them, and we have them in a time and setting order. April 8 on this instance with some timestamps over there. Okay. Another way that we can list our files, which is not over here, is one of the alias commands. Now this is not listed, but I am going to show it to you. So let's quickly type in alias again, so we can see what's available for us to use. So one of the alias commands that we're going to use is the LL command. Do you see that? So the LA will give us a listing with all hidden files. The LL command will give us just a long listing. So let's go and run LL for our home directory. And we will find that we've got all the information, all the directories, or all the contents listed of this directory in our alphabetical order again. So LL is just an alias that was created for us to utilize. So next we're going to do the mkdir. Before we do that, let me see if I can show you the dot and dot dot commands quickly. Let's do a LA. Oh, just a LA should also list it for us. Let's go up to the very top. There we go. And there we can see that our current directory where we are currently at, which is /home/tux. This is the properties of this directory, and then a level on top of that, one up, which is our /home, which is 2 levels up basically, or 1 level up. That is our properties for that directory, the dot and the dot dot, as shown over here. And let's follow the next command. So our next command will be our mkdir command. So here we're going to type mkdir, and we're going to do a -p. The -p purpose is for us to create the parent directory. And we already know, if we look at our listing over here, the parent directory does not exist, which is called training folder. Under T, there's nothing under training. So let's type training_folder/temp. And we hit enter. So let's list our files again. For that we will do just a LL, which is a shorter version, and it will show us there's our training folder. Let's see what is under our training folder by following the next commands. Let's change our directory to our training folder. We go cd, then we have to use the /training, and I tab that out. I just use the tab key and it auto-completes my command. Then I hit enter. Now I'm inside my training folder. Let's list the contents of the training folder by doing a LL again. And there we see is another directory automatically created called temp. So what we have done with our mkdir command, by using the option -p, we create 2 folders with one command itself. There's many other ways of doing this, but this is the more effective way. So our next instruction is to do a touch for the text file.txt. This will create a file name with the name of touchfile.txt inside our current folder, which is our training folder, and hit enter. What we also can do is we can create another file within the upper directory or the next directory, which is our temp file, by using the following command. We don't need to navigate there, we can do this directly from this folder. So let's follow the command. This is touch, and dot means our current directory, where we are currently at. Current is our training folder. So from our training folder, we want to create something in the temp, and then we need to create a new file name called new file.txt and hit enter. So now we have created another file. Let's do a ll dot / temp, and then we go enter, and we will see inside our temp directory we have a file name called new file. So let's look at our next set of commands. So first up we have our copy command, which is cp. Our copy command can copy either a file or a directory. So if we want to use and copy the directory and contents, it must be accompanied with the option -r. Important to have a look that this is a capital R and not a lowercase r. So your command will look like this: cp space minus capital R, and then the directory you want to copy to the destination directory where you want to copy your contents to. Then we're going to look at our mv command, which is our move command. So our move command can either move or rename a file or a directory. So important to take note, we use the mv command to rename a file in Linux. We do not have a rename command in Linux similar to the one that's available on DOS. We use the mv command. We will test this a bit later. Then we've got our rmdir command, which is to delete an empty directory. Then we've got our normal rm command, which is to delete a file or a directory. But there's a little star here. So what does this mean? Let's go have a look. So recursive directory deletions will only happen with the option -r. So if you want to remove a directory, it must be accompanied with the -r in there. Otherwise, it will not delete the directory, and you can only delete files. So should you wish to be asked a confirmation before deleting anything, you can add the option -i in there, or you can delete something by force by using a no confirmation -f. So a -f forces a removal command. Now, it's a very dangerous command in here. If you combine the -r and -f together, it becomes very dangerously, because now it will just delete anything recursively without asking confirmation. So you can make damage to your system should you use the two commands together and you are not certain which path you want to delete. So there's a ln command which we have used already. That is just to create a link. Just to recap, the default command when we use ln is always to create a hard link. If we want to create a symbolic link, also known as a soft link, we will need to use the -s option in there. So this will create a hard link because there's no -s option, and this command will create a soft link because there is a -s command in there. Then we've got our echo command. So we have used our echo command a bit, but what's the main purpose for our echo command? So the main function is to display the value of a variable. So here we have a variable, and we want to see what's inside this variable, or what does this variable refer to. But we have used echo to add some data into a file. So you can add data to a file by using echo in this way. You can also append a file by using a double greater than sign. Here we've used a single greater than sign to add data on it. So if there was data on this file previously, it would overwrite the data. If we wanted to append the data, add some more data to a new line, we will utilize the double greater than sign. Now let's go try this on our practical server. I'm going to open up my server again. Alright, so before we start, let's clear our screen. Always good practice, so we don't get distracted with anything else. Now let's run our next set of commands. My server has just disappeared. Alright, bring it back. There we go. Alright. So our first command we're going to run will be our copy command over here. So let's do the cp, and we do te to copy our test file. But I'm trying to press the tab key to autocomplete my test file, but it's not working. If I press tab a second time, then it shows me, but this is the options we've got to autocomplete. Because the TE and the TE corresponds, it tells us this is everything that can be utilized to autocomplete. So now we know we need to add another letter in there, which is test, and then hit tab again, then it will autocomplete. So now we go copy test file.txt to the word copied file.txt and hit enter. Let's see what happened. Go LL, enter, and it now shows us that we have a new file named copied file. Let's run the next set of commands, which is our move command over here. So with this move command, we are not actually moving it anywhere, we are renaming it. So let's try that. Copy only the C and tab it. Why? Because we only have one C inside this directory, so the tab will autocomplete. Then we type the renamed file, rename file.txt, and hit enter. Let's have a look what's in there. We go LL again, and now we can see that our file has changed from the name copied file to renamed file, but exactly the same creation dates and timestamps. Now let's follow the next command, the mv renamed file. I'm going to tab that, then we're going to do a tilde / desktop, but have a look, that's a capital D. So for capital D, we need to ensure that we also type it there, because everything in Linux command line is case sensitive. So we're going to type in desktop and tab it out, and now it should move our file from our current location under the training folder to our home folder's desktop. Let's go enter. Let's first see if the file has moved. Do we go LL again? And now we can see that file has disappeared from this current directory. So where is that file then? Let's go do a LL on our home directory / desktop and hit enter. And now we can see we have on our desktop we have another folder called Linux Training, and then there is our renamed file. It has moved to the desktop. So if it has moved to the current user's home direct desktop, it should be visible somewhere else. Let's just minimize this, and there is our file. It's on our desktop. So let's go back to our terminal and follow the next command. So the next command states that we should remove a .temp file. Now we're supposed to run not the rm command, we're going to run the rmdir command. So let's go rmdir. Important to follow me on this, please. Rmdir dot / tmp. Let's try to remove this directory. And now we have a problem. It states that we cannot remove this directory. Why? Because the directory is not empty. So what's inside our directory? Let's have a look. We go ll, and we don't always have to do the dot. We can, sorry for that. We don't always have to do the dot / We can just, because we're already in a directory, we can just do the temp. We'll see, and it will automatically know that we are from this directory. So inside our temp directory, we've got a new file that's blocking us. So how can we remove the new file? So our first command we're going to do is we're going to remove the renamed file from our desktop. So to do so, let's first do ll before we do anything to see what things look like currently, what's the state of our directory. So let's do the next command. We'll do the rm from our home directory /D desktop, and we want to remove the renamed file from there. So hit enter, and let's go see if it has disappeared from our upper directory. And the renamed file has disappeared. Okay, now we're going to remove the directory with a recursive mode or instruction. So we go rm -r, because we said we want to do it recursively, and we'll do the dot / temp directory. So if we hit enter now, let's see if we're able to remove the directory this time, because we failed previously of removing the temp directory. Hit enter, and there it went through without any hassle. So let's do a ll again to see what's our current state. And now we can see that our directory called tmp has now been deleted, and we only are left with the text file in here. So our next command we're going to do is our ln command, our link command. We have done this previously. Let's do this again. So we go ln, and we go test file. That's our current file in here. And we want to create a new hard link. And this will be called new _ hardlink.txt. Let's hit enter. And let's do the following command to quickly see. We go ln -s, and we do our test file again, and this will be a new _ soft link.txt, and we hit enter. Now let's go list the contents of this directory again, and now we have created a soft link, and we have created a new hard link. We can see that the hard link is definitely active on this file. Why? Because it shows a number 2 over here, where previously the test file only showed a number 1. Do you see that? Good. Can anybody remember what was the command to see our inodes? So we can do a ls -li, and that should give us a listing of our inodes within this directory. So to see that our hard link was created successfully, it needs to share the exact same inode. Alright, so our next instruction will be the echo command. So let's type in there echo, and our $sign with the word home in capital letters, And this is supposed to give us the value of a variable. So click enter, and it will show us the value of home in capital letters is our current home directory. So now we're going to add some data to a file using echo. We go echo, we go hello underscore word, and we're going to use the greater than sign to test file.txt. So if the file exists, it will just add data to the file. So currently we know that the test file has no bytes of data in it, it's still a 0. So we hit enter, and let's do a LL again. And now we can see our test file has changed. There is now 8 bytes of data in here. For the purpose here of, let's quickly do a cat. If you remember the command cat, and we do the test file on that, and we can see our contents of hello world is in there. Let's do the next command at the bottom, which states echo stay underscore safe, and this time we're going to use a double greater than sign because we want to append the file test file.txt. We don't want to overwrite the data in there, we want to add some more data into this file onto a new line. So we go echo stay safe and the double greater than signs. Let's go and we do a LL to see what happened. We still have a file with some data on it, and let's see what's there's our test file over here, and let's see what's the contents of a test file. We go cat test file, and now we can see we have the word hello world and stay safe in there. We can just do for the purpose here of, we can also cat the hard link, which is new, then hard link, and the contents of the new hard link corresponds to the hard link test file with the same inode. And let's quickly do a cat on our soft link, which is new, and that's our S for soft link. We tab it out, hit enter, and we can still see it also refers to exactly the same content. For our next set of commands, we will be looking at the file contents, how to view file contents over here. So the first one we'll be looking at is our cat command. Now we have been using this quite a bit already. So the purpose of a cat command is to display file contents. Now we can also use the tac command, which is cat in reverse. So the tac command is the same as the cat command, but it displays contents in reverse. Then we can use the more command. The more command can display file contents one page at a time. To navigate the pages page by page, you need to use your spacebar. To quit the listing, you press the Q key to quit. Then we've got our less command. With less, we can display the file contents for better navigation. This is very similar to our more command. So to quit the listing, you will just hit the key Q. Then we've got our head command. With our head command, this displays the first lines of a file. The default is 10 lines. We can also set the number of lines that we want to view at a time by using our option N. So it will look like this: head minus N and the number and our path we want to display. Then we can use the tail command. Now with the tail command, it displays the last lines, and this time also 10 lines at a time. We can use the in option to change the amount of lines we want to view at a time. Then we can also follow a file as the file changes, meaning a live view, by using the -f command. This will follow the file and show you updates as the contents of the file changes. Then to quit this, you need to press Ctrl C. To exit the tail command, you need to press Ctrl C. Then we have used the grep function. So one of the functions we've used grep for is to search the content, to search for content inside a file. This is not the only function, but we are utilizing it for this purpose. Now let's go over to our practical. On our server, remember to hit clear to clear our screen. And now we will start running the next set of commands. So the first one we want to do is cat testfile.txt, and we will see there is our contents of the test file. Now we use stack test file and enter, and you will see it displayed the same contents just in reverse order. So what was first is now last. Our next command is more, and I want you to see what happens if we do the following. Let's go log / messages and hit enter. Now we've got the error and say we cannot open our log file called messages. We do not have permission. So the Tux user is a very limited user, and we've not added any default privileges to Tux or to folders for that matter. But we are privileged on this training systems to have the super user available, or super user functionality available for Tux. So to do this, we use the sudo command. This stands for super user do the following. And this is enabled for Tux. This is not defaultly enabled for everybody, only on this systems which we pre-designed for you. So let's do sudo and exactly the same command. More /var /log /messages. And now we can see the contents of the messages file. So to go through the contents, we hit the space bar. You can keep it in and you can go through all the contents of our log file. So to quit this, you press the Q button. Another function we can use to display the contents will be less. So now I'm going to press the up button once, so I can bring up my last command, and I'm only going to change the word more to less to view the contents of the log messages file again. And now I can view the contents of this message file. Now the difference between more and less is here I can use my arrow keys to go line by line. Should I want to go page by page, I can still navigate with the space bar. Then if you want to go to the last portion of the file, the end of the file, you use your shift button and G. So a capital G will go to the very last bit of the file. If you use a lowercase g, it takes you to the top of the file. So try that quickly. Shift G to the bottom of the file and a lowercase g to the top of the file. So to quit this, we press the Q button. And now we have quit it. So our next command we have to run is our head command. So let's try that. Again, the upper button, then I will only change the less to head and hit enter. And this will give us the very top lines of the messages command. Let me just first clear this out and show you. I'm going to hit up again, and only about 10 lines are shown at this stage. So let's clear this and do the next command so we can see that it only shows less data. So we're going to use the up button. We're going to go head space minus in space only 5 lines. And now you can see we get only displayed 5 lines. If you look at our display, it does show, it looks like it's a lot more, but I can tell you the lines roll over to the next line to display all information on our screen. This is only physically 5 lines. Now let's use the tail command. So for tail, we can use the up button again, and we can go change. Let's go find the previous one. There we go. Head. I've used the up arrow until I found a shorter version of our commands just to change the word to tail. And now we do sudo tail var lock messages and hit enter. And there it shows us all the commands and also the last 10 lines of the messages log file. There was our command at the top. So let's clear this off and let's run a tail minus in5. So I'm going to search for the head one. I'm going to change the word head to tail, and I'm going to see the last 5 lines of the log messages like this. Hit enter, and now I see only 5 lines. That's the last 5 lines. Now we're going to follow the messages as they come in. So let's clear our screen again with the word clear, hit enter, and we're going to run the tail command again. I went up to find this version of the tail command, go minus F space, and let's see what happens. I'm going to give you just a moment to get there. So sudo tail minus F var lock messages. So this should show us the last 10 lines of the messages log file. So let's take note what was our last entry, already running in a session. So let's go open up something to see if we can get the input registered in the log file. So hit for me, click me on places, then go to the very top. Let's go to our home directory and see what happens to our log file. Okay, close down our home directory, and what was entered in our session, in our log file. So this was our last entry into our log file, already running session on my system. Here is all of the logs that was written to it when I opened up my places folder, the home folder on the log directory. So we are following the directory live, and it was updated live by the tail minus F command. So to quit this, press Ctrl C, the Ctrl button plus C. And I've quit the running or the live view. Now I'm back in my training folder. Now we're going to search for something with using the word grep inside a file. So let's go search for the word world. For that we'll use grep. I'll type the word world in there and in our test file. And let's see if we can find the text for us inside our test file. I'm not getting that info. Let's quickly see what's inside our test file. Let's go cat test file, and I've made a spelling mistake there. That's why I didn't find mine. So I'm going to do exactly the same, but just the word, not world. So I made a typo. Please don't do the same as I did. And there we go. it will find my results. Hello world was supposed to stand in, not hello world. So this is our end of this set of commands. For our next set of commands, we will be looking at special copying commands. So let's first look at rsync, and then we'll look at dd. So rsync copies only deltas between two directories. This can be utilized over a local machine or via a network. It uses our secure shell, the SSH, as our default transport, and also rsync can talk to the rsync daemon on a remote machine. Then there are two options which are common, which we can use the archive mode to copy our data with identical characteristics. For example, once we do a copy, it will copy the exact time and date stamps with the -a option. Then we've got a -v, which is our verbose mode, and that will display the progress of our copy in more detail. If we look at dd, we will not be running this command though, but it's good to see it. This copies files block by block. This can be used to create a disk or partition images. So we can create from a physical hard drive, can we create an image of the drive by using the dd command. Some important options that we use is the if, which states our input file, of where we want to save the file, our destination, and the bs is the block sizes we want to create this with. So let's go to our practical and have a look at the rsync command. So let's clear this screen and let's type in the command there. So that'll be rsync -av. So we're going to do the archive and we're going to do the verbose mode to keep the same date and timestamps and to see progress. Then we're going to copy our /tmp directory, and we're going to copy this to our home folder /training folder. And the moment when I hit the tab button, it automatically changed my tilde to the full path of home/tux. It's good to see that. And then we're going to do a temp. Now the temp directory we removed earlier. So I'm just going to show this to you quickly. I'm just going to minimize here. I'm going to open this up. And let's go cd/training folder. We can do LL in there, and you will see there's no temp directory in here. So the rsync also creates directories the moment we utilize the command. Close this down. Let's leave it open for a while. And now I'm going to hit enter on this command. And there it copied the folders, and some files could not be transferred. This will be some errors in our permissions. But let's list our current directory again. Let's go LL, and now we will see there is a temp directory with quite a bit of data in it. And this should be similar to what we have in our current temp directory without the permission issues. So our next command will be to remove the temp directory. And we'll see we're going to do the rm -r, and in our training folder /temp, and we are going to remove everything recursively. Hit enter. Then it will give us an error and say that we've got some write protected files in there. So some of these files were copied with all their attributes and characteristics. So to overwrite this or to approve this, all you have to do is press the Y button on your keyboard to say yes, we are certain we want to remove the write protected file. Yes, and enter. And this will remove the folder temp and its contents. Let's go LL, enter, and the folder has now been removed. rsync is really a very handy copying tool which I can recommend. Next up, we're going to look at searching in the command line interface. So here we've got little asterisks. So what does the asterisk mean? So any text preceding a single character. So an asterisk is like a wildcard, and it can replace any text preceding a character. Here we've got an example of an asterisk. So everything before the word file will be displayed if we're going to start searching here. So our command that we'll be running in our practical will be the find command. So what does find do? It searches for files or directories. So the syntax is to find the path, criterion, then action. Here we've got it. We've got our find. We've got our path. Where do we want to find this is within our home directory. And then we want to define what we're going to find. To look for is a name. And the name must contain file.txt. Another search functionality is the where is. So here we've got a where is grep, and it will give you an output of where is grep. So it attempts to locate the desired program in the standard Linux places and in the places specified by our variables path and man path. Some other options you can use with where is the -b for binaries, -m for manual pages, or -s for source codes. You can use the where is command to quickly search through your system instead of going through every single file if you know what you're looking for. Then the which command. So here's an example of which grep. So it searches all the path listed in the variable path and returns the full path of the command. Then we can also use the type, for example type grep, just shows the kind of command. For example, is it a shell built-in, alias, external command, or a function. So let's quickly go to our practical and run that command. Get my machine up here. First thing we do is let's clear our screens. So let's run this command. We go find, then our tilde, minus name, and we're looking for anything that might have the word file.txt on it. And hit enter. And there it found within our home directory, in our training folder, a file called test file.txt. I think for the fun here of, let's quickly run the other three commands, although it's not listed. So let's do where is, and then we'll do a grep, and it'll tell us where the grep program is located. Let's do the which command for grep. We'll tell you exactly where it's listed, and then the type command grep, and it will tell you it's aliased to grep underscore color equals auto. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our command line shell commands. Now, this brings us to the end of today's session. I trust you found today's session informative and you have made notes of all the commands. We've tried to keep it practical and hands-on today, so I hope you feel already empowered by just joining us for today. We've got a few moments to answer some questions. And if you have any longer technical questions, please remember to send us an email to suze@sabttech.com. My name is Jaco Fuster from SABNT Tech, and I will see you tomorrow again, same time, same place. Keep well.